Well, welcome. My name is Paul Doughty. This is Leading the Industry podcast with Silvercreek Realty. And with me, we have John Petzinger with J. Petzinger Homes. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Well, why don't we start and tell me a little bit about how you got into the home building industry.
Home building in general, started really when I was a kid. Started with my father growing up. He bought a 5-acre plot out in Caldwell, and we were living in Caldwell City, on College Avenue, and he built a road out to the property, put a single wide trailer on it.
Okay.
And then we built our home next to that trailer. And we spent about 18 years building that. So I spent my whole life,
Oh, wow,
one way or another, on that construction site right next door. Eventually we moved out of the trailer into the house.
So everything from foundation to finish.
Oh yeah, among so many other.
Did you
projects.
subcontract some of it out, or was it legitimately you all the way?
Well, it was the boys. There's 5 of us.
Okay.
And my father, and anybody that he contracted with, eventually they either quit or he fired them. So it was. That's just how it worked. So
right.
We were the hands.
Yeah.
But it was primarily my dad. So I grew up on a construction site. So I'm very, very at home, very comfortable on a construction site.
And so at that point, when did you have the realization that, yes, this is something I want to do my whole life?
I hadn't thought about it when I was growing up. I was headed to the military, and I got not sidetracked, but I went to got a scholarship. So I ended up studying painting. So I headed from that farm in Caldwell to New York City, and I had never really considered home building as a profession. I fell into it, really. I was given a great opportunity many years after that. So,
is there any connection between painting and construction?
Oh, heck yeah!
Like what?
Yeah, it's huge. There are a lot of similarities in the process of creating really anything. You've got to create the idea, and then ultimately you have to assemble it and build it, right? So there's something about certainly something about standing in front of a blank canvas, let's say, or standing in front of a piece of paper at a table, and you have to start with that mark, and that process is incredibly similar, whether it be making a painting or designing a house. And that's where, for me anyway, this business has evolved into just that, designing and then building. So,
what is your involvement in the design process with your clients?
Well, very involved. Very involved. I've spent many years designing or building beautiful homes from renowned architects and just fantastic designers. And then over time, somewhat born out of necessity, I started designing my own homes. So it's very involved. It's very, very time consuming as well. I only do 1, maybe 2 at a time now. So yeah, it started out as superintendent work. Again, I was given an opportunity. A guy named Emmett Price, he's a builder. He's been here for a very long time, and he was a fantastic mentor, specifically in home building. And I learned a lot from him, learned a lot from his sons. At the time, it was Emmett Price and Sons. And so I'm very grateful for that opportunity. I think it is where I learned the technical aspects of how to build a home, how to schedule a home, how to administer a home. That was invaluable experience there.
Being a builder in the Treasure Valley.
Yeah.
You giving your experience that you had in New York as a painter.
Yeah.
What constraints do you feel as a home builder being in Treasure Valley are there constraints on you, artistically speaking, form, function speaking, that you wish was different?
Wow, that's a great question. So far, no. I've had some I've been, I think, really lucky to have had some clients that let me do what I want in many ways. And that's how my process works right now. They come with a lot, and the lot has constraints, of course, and there might be some general parameters of what features they want in the home. And then I'll go from there. I'll design a floor plan with elevations, maybe a few sections, and then we'll sit down and we'll critique it. And again, it's very similar to my background, where we'll create something and then we sit down and we critique it and we really dissect it and what's working, what's not. And that's the process that I come from. That's the process that I think it crosses many different firms, design firms, architectural firms. I believe they all pretty much operate the same way. But it's very freeing. I do my thing, so to speak, and then we sit down and then we go from there.
This relationship seems a little unique to me compared to most general contractors, where it seems like the relationship between the architect, or I should say the blueprint that they purchase online, is between them and the architect. But it sounds to me like what you're saying is your unique contribution, I suppose, to the Valley is, look, I'm taking an intimate role in design. I'm taking an intimate role in the functionality of the home, because that's important too. Ultimately, it is their home, right? They need a place to cook. They need a place to sleep and use the restroom. So it sounds like you're having a nice marriage between those two. So that's really, I think that's really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, and the other advantage that has for certain is that, well, I'm not only the designer, but then I'm out there building it as well, and so there's a lot of gray area, and as much as I work to fill in all the details and get all the details in that design process, when you're out there building, there's still gray that needs to be filled in, and so being able to fill those gaps with that drawing, that detail that's very much needed is crucial. So I have 2 work days. I start early. I have a short work day, usually from 4 to 8, and that's my design day. And then from 8 o'clock to the rest of the day, I've got to go build it now. And so that's how I operate. Yeah.
Interesting. I want to take a pause here. We're going to go to some soundbite questions.
Okay.
When working with buyers, what is the number one thing that you don't want to skimp on?
Well, skimping is less just a dirty word.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't skimp.
How do you stay up to date on the latest trends that are going on in building?
I can't say that I make a concerted effort to stay up on trends necessarily. I do make efforts to stay up on some solid building practices, solid building assemblies, materials, and so on. I do make efforts to stay up on that, and then ultimately bring them into the build. It's one thing to watch videos on it or read up on it and read the literature. It's another thing to bring it into the build. So that for sure I make efforts with. But as far as trends, it doesn't really enter into my mind too much. But what trends should I follow? And if they are out there, am I following them? I don't concern myself too much with that right now.
What particular building method or building style do you get really excited about when a customer says to you, this is what I want to do? Is there something where you get excited about, for example, floating stairs?
Yeah. The builds that I'm currently on, the build that I'm currently on right now has an elaborate floating stair system. So
that was an example, but is that's something that gets you excited?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's complex. They're difficult. They're fussy to execute, and so the end result is just really stunning. They tend to be sculptural pieces in the end. Anything with formed concrete or steel or glass that's exciting to me. They're far and few between. There are elements here and there that we might bring into the build.
What differentiates you from all of the other builders in the Valley?
I don't pay enough attention, I suppose, to what the other builders are doing to answer that precisely. I will say I'll guess that it's likely that a big difference between me and another builder is that I do design it. Not that I won't build another architect's drawings. If I had a Trey Hoff set of plans in front of me, I'd gladly build that. The guy's brilliant and I love his work. but I design them, and then I go out in the field and I build them. Of course, I manage the construction of them, and I am hands-on. I do build certain features in the home. I'm currently putting in flush base detail in the home that I'm currently on, and I enjoy that. Enjoy it a great deal. So, I am a studio painter.
Yeah,
that's my study. I'm a studio painter who happens to build homes, and I view it as the same thing in many, many ways. I know it's not a canvas hanging on a wall at the end of the day, but I still paint. It's tough to make a living at it, you know.
I think I do composition. I do piano music composition, and I think one of the most difficult things for myself is finishing the work.
Yeah,
ideas come to me very quickly. I can notate it. I can get it there. I can record it. But then when it comes to the finishing touches, I start looking elsewhere, and I think, you know, what's interesting about building, what you're communicating to me, and it almost forces you have to finish. You've got to finish this piece of work. You've got to finish this composition. So I think I think it's a great way for you to communicate and express your ideas through construction.
Yeah, and to that point, it comes to an end. It does come to a completion, and it's as wonderful as that is, and as beautiful as the finished home can be, and they are, and as satisfying as that is for the home buyer. Quite a disappointment because the process is over, right? Mm-hmm. It really is that process that is just what keeps me going in this business. It's the finished result is lovely. That creative battle that constantly happens from the initial concept through construction to completion, and then the carrying of that warranty throughout is also part of the business.
For those who would like to reach out to you, what is the best way?
Email is most direct. You can email me at john@jpetzingerhomes.com. You can call me. My phone number is 208-514-8453.
Great.
Take a look at my website as well.
The website is beautiful.
Thank you.
Very cool. I looked at it last night. Really enjoyed that.
Oh, appreciate that.
Well, thanks, John, for being with us.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
All right.